Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a bit of a special treat for you guys here today, and I mean that in two different ways today. We have a 4v4 on the Bootcamp Discord, which is a Discord renowned for 1v1 competitive, not exactly team games, and we also have a buddy of mine also on the recording, just hopped on when I started recording, and I can never say no to him. So, Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Chris. My tag is Vimes,
Mhm.
and my understanding of this game is abysmal, but I know that more DACA is more better.
Yeah, well, so Chris and I started off playing this game together before I ever put anything up onto YouTube for it, and before I really got good, I guess, if I am at the moment. Yeah, we used to
He's
have
pretty
a
good.
lot of friendly games, me, Chris, and a couple of others, including the guy who actually bought me the game, but my
Mhm.
entire plan here, you see all these nice zones in Conquest that are the things you're supposed to fight over? Well, two of our opponents in this game, Cheriton and Constantine, well, they took support decks, and I have Baltic, which means I have amphibious transports with autocannons and frag launchers. So I was just like, you know what, you guys can fight over the zones, I'm going over the hills. I'll send a couple of things over here. I actually sent some decently heavy tanks and all that. And so we have my allies getting into fights in Yacht. We had some really nice pressure from Synthetic and Benzino Gasolini, because the names that you see in this game are always just golden. Headed to Ivan. And a little bit of a mistake on my part, the MiG. I thought I evac'd him. I think my V key is a little on the fritz because that's been happening to me lately. And so, yeah, that's the goal. What do you think of it, Chris? Is it
Uh,
as expected?
I think there's some irony in going over the mountains towards a zone called Constantine. Uh, Very Roman of you. Very
Yeah, I
gonna
suppose.
sack Rome type of vibe.
Of course, Finland and Poland are very Roman as well, right? For sure.
Yes, naturally, and well-known parts of the Roman Empire, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, no sarcasm there. So we did have a couple problems. So the Nighthawk from Bob Magillic is very nice, and then I think we showed up on their mini map for just a bit because Yusupov sent a Fennec 20 mil, and this is a classic sort of I need something with a gun that's gonna face check something. And he did see my entire push here, so we have to get across the river, we have to do it soon, and because there are two blue players in Yacht and just Isolate Massive over here, it was a bit of a struggle. So the hope was to get a pave up here to some Yekri, some Pions, but my ally's pave has died, most of his push into Yacht has died. We're going to have to regroup, and we're going to have to get good value out of Constantine. Ivan was actually going much better. So PH2 Tiger, Gazelle Canon from blue, but look at all this stuff here from our two players. I mean, it's a ton. And if we go a little bit sideways, I like doing this sometimes, this is Conquest. Map control is what matters, and look at where we're fighting, right? We're fighting in the two-pointer on the north side. We're fighting in the two-pointer in the center. We have the ability to maybe countercap those, even if the... Ooh, yeah, kill the tiger. Very happy about that. Eroquez Yekri just busted completely. And yeah, we took some losses, but yeah, it's worth it.
You took their fob.
Well,
That's
yeah,
brutal.
there's like one or two other fobs in this zone alone. So, yeah, I mean, 4 players, if one brings a fob, plus there were 2 support players, it was a lot. But, you know,
Mm.
oftentimes and I would do this to you, Chris, all the time when we played. Even if we went even
Uh-huh.
for kills, so long as I'm fighting in your space, oftentimes I win the conquest game, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's late game, you get a counter cap on that +2. Even if it's 0-0 for 90% of the game, you get 30, 40 points. That's the win. That's all you need, right? 30, 40 points more than your opponent.
Oh yeah, Red Dragon as in life, all and real estate. It's all about location, location,
Location, location.
location.
So that Panzerkampfwagen Leopard 2 here, command tank was spotted in Constantine, but I have nothing that can reasonably kill it, because right as we spot it, there are a couple of tanks coming in from the Blue 4 team, and I lost my support here, really. Like, it's pretty thin. 2 Iroquois, a Ranico, it's expensive. My spike's in the wrong location. I was hoping maybe to catch things in this open side, but I should have been just in the open ground, able to side shot the AMX 10s, right? That would have been a lot more useful. So we're
Just let
regrouping
them
here.
shoot their own fob for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the people on Bootcamp, I don't think are going to shoot their own fob. Yeah, you can maybe catch people in public lobbies with that, but
No,
these
I
guys...
saw those AMX shooting their own
Oh,
fob.
really? Did they? Is this damaged? Oh, yeah, it's damaged. Somebody probably has auto-shoot logistics on. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
I toyed around with that too, because it's really annoying watching supply trucks go by,
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to hit them at all, but
Yep.
I don't know, I'm not sure it's a worthwhile setting, just because you do that, you shoot your own fob, or you shoot the wrong targets, it's a little annoying. So
Yeah.
We have sort of 2 and 2. Islay Massive has lost most of his stuff on the front, but we're regrouping. He and I are talking in the chat while this was going on, just saying, hey, we have some good stuff over here. We had a little bit of a not quite as good as it could have been in Yacht. What can we do about this? And, Ivan, a lot of stuff has died on both sides, and the push toward the town really didn't pan out. But we have LSTR in the woods, and I think you used to play East German and, what is it, Eastern Bloc quite a bit.
Eastern Bloc for sure. Those LSTR are nasty to a lot of things.
Especially in forests like that, where you have, good ability to hide over a wide area. There's going to be helicopters. There's lots of open ground, so tanks, helicopters, things like that are going to be approaching those woods. It can be pretty deadly pretty quick.
Yep.
So.
And definitely good having some resupply up there too to keep those missiles fresh, because otherwise you're not going to get the full value out of those guys.
That's always something you're better at and have been better at than I am. I always run out of supplies, and the number of times I was sitting there going, I wish I had one more missile, and you would realize that I was all out of X, Y, or Z. It was just,
Oh yeah, look, you fight with a single-minded brutality. Every once in a while, you overextend just a little bit, and I get a moment of joy and a lifetime of sadness.
Why are you saying I overextend? I clearly never overextend.
Hey, you brought a fob with you, or stole one of theirs. Who cares?
HLVW as well, and I think I don't remember. I think I was a bit of a jerk and turned this completely off, so even if they recaptured it, won't do anything. But unless I turn it back on, but it was a little rude. Yeah, I'm resupplying Igwas out of their fob and then shooting it at their helicopters, but this finally is going to be sort of the end of my bridgehead here. The Fenix, they're getting my Iroquois to shoot, and then that Pivats, it never reloads, ever.
No, they're great.
Yeah, it was sort of just getting ground down there, but I really don't know if it was at cost there or not. I think it was. We killed a tiger over there as well. I didn't quite show it this time because we've been looking more. This is part of why I like doing replays, by the way, on... Ooh, nice CV kill. LSTR, man. They'll get you.
Right.
But it's part of why I like doing these replays is you see so much in the replay that you didn't see during the game. It just comes at a cost of not seeing what you saw in the game, right? So it's a little bit of a trade-off in both directions. But here's the decap on Ivan, which gives our team a +2. We extend that into a +4 by capping Anna. So Anna Gregory, there's pretty much no fighting on either one. But we got a cap here as well, and that's +4. That's 60 points a minute. That's so insanely huge. The Blue 4 team has to do something about it. And I feel like you're my rap hype man or something, just sitting in the back. Yep.
I'm just making sure that you still know I'm here.
Oh yeah. So, what would you be thinking if you were me right now?
Well, I'd be a little concerned about getting pushed back out of Constantine, but the things that they have in there are spent, they're deployed, and if you leave them there, they're kind of dead buys. If you've thrown them off enough, I don't know, maybe take a stab back into Jaw?
Yeah, so that's sort of similar to what I was thinking as well. If you notice, I have some Renico here, they're a bit late to the party, but I was thinking if I just have a couple of red blips for them over here, they might keep a lot of things in Constantine. So definitely thinking along similar tracks, and then Renico going up around the side. Just to clear this forest, because there's so much open ground. I really don't like the idea of having to defend in this zone. I think you really need to be pushing out of this in order to defend it well. Otherwise, come on, 2 bombers in here, and that's all suppressed. 1 piece of artillery, and that could all be suppressed. And that is just, it's not a lot of land area. I think it's really a challenging thing.
You end up fighting over it in certain ways,
Yeah. So, looking over here on the right-hand side, Boris is sort of a toss-up. The thing is, that +1 zone, the reason everyone's ignoring it is it wouldn't even save the game. If we look at this, the +2 decap negates it right there. So let's say blue caps Gregory, that takes them just to a +2 for red. They cap Boris, we're still at a +1. We don't care. As long as they're not blowing through to Anna, we really don't care. This is what's going to be hopefully winning the game for us. Yacht is what's going to be hopefully winning the game for us, not that +1 zone on the side. And I think both teams recognize that, and that is one of the differences playing with people in Bootcamp, playing with experienced players, that you'll sometimes not get in public lobbies, because in public lobbies you have people who see, okay, this is a 4v4, you have the lane here, you have the lane here, you have a lane here. That's 3 lanes, you're going to get a double up probably in the center, 1 on each side. And with more experienced players, you really just get people recognizing what's most important about the map. And so we have a double here, we have a double here, we have complete lack of caring about a +1 zone. So recognizing what's most important and pushing for it. And that makes a huge, huge, huge difference. So Ranico did get through. We actually killed a Leclerc. We're looking at some Chasseurs, Chimera. I know, right? These guys are just nasty. Which, you remember that time I got one of them behind one of your super heavies?
Oh, I remember it, but I think you remember it differently.
Do I remember it differently? How do you
No,
remember
you
the...
remember it the same, with a different valence on it. I remember
Ah,
pain.
I remember just happiness, joy, and a somewhat admittedly malicious amount of yep, yeah, that was a good play.
Look, backshotting a Merkava is a joy all its own.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, you played Israel so much, um, and they're so powerful in Forest, but it is a little bit linear gameplay, right? Ooh, a nice Rafal. That was a beautiful Rafal.
Yeah.
Mallard, if you see this, great Rafal. I know Mallard and I were fighting over here in Yacht for quite a while, and I think it was games like this when you're on the defense can be rather frustrating, and I don't think that's ever really how it's intended to be. It's more of just a result of not feeling like you can get out of your own side, right? Like I've lost games fighting between zones before just as badly as I've lost them fighting in my own territory. And
Mhm.
fighting in your own territory feels infinitely worse. I do apologize for that. It was a very aggressive strategy.
Eh,
Um, just high risk, high reward.
no, I mean, what war? I mean, look, Wargame Red Dragon isn't exactly a perfect warfare simulator, but
What?
war is unfair, and Wargame likes to be accurate.
What's the quote? War never changes. Hmm. Unless you take a different faction, then it does. So one of the things I do want to point out here was pointed out by
Hmm.
oh, it was pointed out by Synthetic later on. I
Yep.
completely failed to have any recon around this bridge, and that could have well been catastrophic. So if they had just gone down here, but I think they
Yep.
assumed it would be covered, and we had the KTs up on the high ground. They actually killed a couple of tanks earlier, and yeah,
Hmm.
tanks. AMX 13 recon tanks, just 25-point tanks there, killed by 20-point transports of Bushmasters. Is pretty funny, but
Hmm.
these guys don't have optics, and they're also just not in a good position to be a sort of face check type unit. So that was a big failing
Hmm.
on my part there. And
Yeah.
oftentimes you'll see in a lot of games, you'll have these failings, and whether or not your opponent takes advantage of them, even if it's just sort of down to chance, often can determine the game. Oh, geez, that's such a deep dive with Block 15s, and it worked
Whoa.
too. Oh, never mind.
Sort of worked.
Yeah, plonk.
Well, it worked for. It was a trade Z.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a
Yeah.
habit that you and I never really did. I don't think either one of us really dove that far in other than like legit micro mistakes like the one that I had earlier.
Well, in our little tete-a-tete, we kind of trained each other that like AA brutality was the name of the game, and
Yeah.
it kind of became a game of how brutally I could shoot down your jets with
Oh,
infinite little AA pieces in the back.
I actually want to thank you for shooting down so many of my planes when we were playing together. Oh, the offensive is nearly ready, and we'll look at that when it's
Yep.
ready. Um, but yeah, I think even as much as I crutched on planes, or used to anyway,
Hmm.
I still do sometimes. I think you really discouraged it because I basically already was treating them as a one-way trip because oftentimes that's what they were, with the exception of those 60-point finish hawks. Those annoyed you to no end. But here's the
What?
offensive. We have charioteers, we have
Yep.
BMP1s, BTR50s, a pave back here that needs to get moving right
Hmm.
now. And I brought a T-72 M1 mod. Nice coordination with
Hmm.
iSlay. This was really a pleasant push to coordinate because yeah, I mean, I'm losing charioteers, but we have chimeras in the woods there. One chimera kill makes up for a lot of those charioteer losses. I smoked over the side here. Raniko Yekuri gonna get that Epilos online and just be absolutely brutal with it. And if we can
Yep.
push into these trees, if we can get rid of Yacht, we've been ticking at a +4 for so long. If we can go up to +6, that could be really impactful. And I'd actually done a cheeky CV buy right here, and I'd planned on moving it up into the trees. That really never materialized, but yeah, I thought it would. Because remember, I had Ranico up here, I had Yakri up here. They've since died, but that wasn't always the case. So
Hmm.
that was sort of the idea. Execution, maybe not. Oh man.
Hmm. Quite a brutal fight there. There's been a slowly escalating series too of heavier and heavier vehicles making their way into that zone.
Yeah, I mean, we needed something to counter the Chimera, and the mod is going to be exactly what can do that. So the Chimera can't, it doesn't have a turret. It has to turn in order to face, oh, this is brutal. There
Oh,
goes a
Command
Patriot.
Abrams. Command Abrams
Yep.
exposed.
Yep. So I just killed the Patriot with that. We're looking for the Command Abrams. There it is. Trying to get the gun online. Oh, nope. There it is. Oh, no?
No, that's a side shot on somebody else.
I think that... Jeez, I don't even know what that was.
Oh,
Thunderbolt,
maybe
by the
that was
way,
the.
was looking for me. Yeah, that was it. That was it. So that's an
Ah,
HLVW. So we cleared Yacht. We're up to a +6. Ivan has been capped now. So Benzino, Gasolini, and Synthetic did an amazing job here in the center. And that's pretty much it. You can't survive a +6 for very long. We did lose the mod. But think about it. That thing got a Patriot. It got a Command Tank. It got at least one Chimera. We're going to see the kill list later on for it. But it was darned nice. It was very good. And I think that push with Islay really just solidified this side. It was a lot of fun.
oh yeah. I mean, it's brutal and it spent itself out, but it did what it needed to do. It got to the back lines. It killed the command tank, which is a big loss both in firepower and in points, obviously. I mean, that's a successful push out.
Yeah.
And if you just spend the next 10 minutes fighting over it, I mean, you only need to spend 2.
I mean, yeah, because we don't even have 10 minutes of time left, right? We have a +6. That's 90 points a minute. There's only 60 points left. This
Oh
game
yeah.
will be done in under a minute because of that yacht clear, which you can kind of see that reflected in how we're playing right now. There's been no forward push after Ivan. Synthetic knows that he just has to hold here. And Islay and I know that we just have to keep a little bit of pressure up. We have artillery still shooting in. The Rock 91 did reasonably well. I think I was trying to coordinate it to stun everything right before we moved in. Didn't quite get that timing right. Still something I'm working on. But, you know, I think it worked okay, at least for what we needed at the time. So that's going to be the game. 500 points has been reached. Hats off to my opponents, and many thanks to my allies in that Bootcamp rare 4v4 sort of game. And let's just take a quick look at some of the highlight units. Erkoisekri killing a couple of Fenix. Believe it or not, this is worthwhile. So 30-point Fenix, 60 points of kills, 35-point Erkois, nearly 2-to-1 return right there, even if it doesn't really look like it with that. And then we have these guys, Tiger, KWS.
Oh.
Yeah, shooting down an ASF. That is, I've had it happen to me. One game, one of my opponents took 4 SAS and he snuck them all the way around the side and put them behind my air spawn. And I lost 2 planes before I realized what was happening. That always hurts. Then other good units are going to be the Ranico, Leclerc kill, Panzermörser, HS-30, and generally we just got good value from most things here. Even the Rock 91 got a couple of nice kills in addition to stuns. So pretty good KD, very, very fun game. Probably more so for red than for blue, and I do apologize for that. But that's all we've got for you guys today. Thank you, Chris, for being here, and thank you all for hanging around.